the WBC has confirmed that Dillian Whyte has taken legal action against them because of the mandatory situation. In recent days, the WBC have been talking about the possibility of an undisputed fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. And there are several other factors which could push back Dillian Whyte's world title challenge. I said in a video several weeks ago, in fact, in a couple of videos several weeks ago, that I think the only way Dillian Whyte is going to get his WBC title shot anytime soon is if he takes legal action. And even then, it's not guaranteed, because sometimes legal action can actually make the situation worse by way of, things being dragged out in court. And when things are dragged out in court, usually you're not going to be active in the ring. And obviously, financially, it's a drain. I know Dillian Whyte has made a lot of money in his professional career so far, but lawyers cost a lot of money. You'd be surprised how somebody with a couple million in the bank can turn into somebody with $500,000 in the bank after a drawn out legal battle. So hopefully it won't come to that. The WBC, of course, you wouldn't imagine they have the financial, strength to be in a protracted legal battle with a high-profile fighter like Dillian Whyte. You have to imagine they would feel the financial pinch just as much, if not more so than him. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully it can get resolved, maybe even out of court. Just because legal action has been taken, it doesn't mean it can't be dropped by Dillian Whyte. So they have to try and find a resolution Dillian Whyte is happy with, and maybe, drop the situation and get Dillian Whyte his title shot. Now, to be fair, people have pointed out that Dillian Whyte could have fought Anthony Joshua in 2019. And that is absolutely true. He could have fought Anthony Joshua. He didn't like the terms. This is according to Dillian Whyte. He didn't like the terms, and that's the reason he gives for turning it down. But he doesn't seem to be, or he hasn't seemed to be, so picky about the terms when it comes to fighting for the WBC belt. Because remember, he's been targeting a fight against Deontay Wilder when Wilder was still WBC champion, even prior to becoming mandatory. So he was willing to take unfavorable terms to step in the ring against Deontay Wilder. But when it came to the Anthony Joshua fight, he wasn't willing to take unfavorable terms, what he considered to be unfavorable terms. So in my personal opinion, I think that Dillian Whyte always saw Deontay Wilder as an easier fight than Anthony Joshua. And I know many of you think that Wilder is better than Joshua. Okay, but I'm not talking about what you think. I'm talking about what I believe is in Dillian Whyte's mind. Dillian Whyte got knocked out by Anthony Joshua. He felt his punching power. He felt his physical strength. He experienced his punch variety, etc., his speed. And I believe that knockout defeat still haunts Dillian Whyte to some degree in the back of his mind. Even though Dillian Whyte is a very mentally strong character, he's a very tough, aggressive man, as we all know, he's a very real guy. I do think that knockout at the hands of AJ does haunt him still in the back of his mind. And therefore, he was looking to maybe target a Deontay Wilder fight. And if he could get hold of that belt, then he would try and get revenge over AJ. Because they're 1-1 at the moment, Dillian Whyte and AJ. Dillian Whyte obviously won their amateur bout. AJ won their pro bout. But yeah, I'm sure Dillian Whyte would fight AJ under the right circumstances, but he understands how serious that risk is, stepping in there against AJ again. That's my personal opinion. Okay, I could be wrong. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know for sure what's in Dillian Whyte's head, but just reading his body language whenever AJ's been brought up over the years, particularly a couple years ago, and the decisions he's made, I just feel like he's trying to defer the Anthony Joshua rematch and get hold of a belt by some other means before he goes ahead and, tries to get revenge. So I think that's a valid criticism that people have when they say that he could have had a title shot from AJ. But in terms of him being the WBC #1 contender for such a length of time. Yes, it is a scandal, but it's not unprecedented when it comes to the WBC. They often mollycoddle their champions, not all of their champions, but many of them get treated, particularly the ones who generate any kind of money, they get treated with just kid gloves ain't even the right way to describe it. That they get mollycoddled. That's the best way I can say it. And that certainly happened with Deontay Wilder, whereby he was almost exempted, other than the Povetkin fight, he was almost exempted from fighting a tough mandatory, you know? So that is something that has frustrated Dillian Whyte, but it's frustrated a lot of fighters in a lot of different divisions when it comes to trying to get a WBC title shot. And the situation now with him suing the WBC, Dillian Whyte, it could work out in his favor. Maybe it won't work out in his favor. Maybe it will really hurt him financially. Maybe it will ruin his relationship with the WBC, because if he was to lose the case, do you think the WBC would ever be looking to give him a title shot? If he goes to court and loses? Obviously, he's got lawyers and advisors, and they wouldn't be proceeding if they didn't think they had a decent shot, I'm assuming. Although, lawyers, well, I don't know what kind of contract these lawyers are on, whether it's they get more money for winning the case, or they're going to get paid a hell of a lot. Well, they're probably going to get paid a hell of a lot anyway, even if they lose. I'm not sure how it works. But yeah, I hope it all turns out to Dillian Whyte's satisfaction. That's all I can say. Obviously, I'm going to back the fighter more so than the sanctioning body in this particular situation, because I do feel like his title shot is overdue. And as a selfish boxing fan, because this is a nuanced situation, as a selfish boxing fan, do I want to see the Undisputed fight before Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury? Hell yes. Okay, I'm going to put my cards on the table. I do prefer to see it. But if Dillian Whyte was to win this case with the WBC and has his shot before we see the Undisputed, I'm not going to grumble too much about that either, because he has earned his shot. He has put in a hell of a lot of work. He's taking on very tough opponents back to back to back for the most part. So, he deserves his shot, no question about it. But I do feel a little conflicted, I'm not going to lie, in terms of him getting his shot and us seeing the Undisputed fight sooner rather than later. So, as I mentioned in another video, there's also the possibility that Tyson Fury either gets elevated to franchise champion, and that means Dillian Whyte fights somebody else for the regular belt. Could be Deontay Wilder, could be someone else. Or Tyson Fury vacates the belt altogether. That, I think, would be preferable to Dillian Whyte. I think Dillian Whyte would rather Fury vacate the WBC instead of him being elevated. Obviously, I'm sure Dillian Whyte would rather fight Tyson Fury, but if Fury is just flat out refusing to fight, the next best option for Dillian Whyte, I'm assuming, would be Fury vacate, and he can fight somebody else for the full version, not the secondary version with the franchise being separate. No, the full version of the WBC belt. I'm sure that's what Dillian Whyte would prefer. And it could be Deontay Wilder. It could be, I haven't checked there. In fact, let me check their ratings now. All right, here we go. This is the WBC top 15. You got Wilder. All right, so it would be Dillian Whyte versus Deontay Wilder if Tyson Fury vacated, I'm assuming. Although Wilder, people are saying that he's injured and what have you, so we're not sure what's going on with him. It could then turn out to be Dillian Whyte versus Usyk, but Usyk has got a WBO mandatory shot, so perhaps the Usyk fight wouldn't take place, although they're both matchroom fighters, so it should be fairly easy to make. Below that, you've got Rivas. Dillian Whyte has already beaten Rivas quite convincingly. So, Rivas is up there in the rankings, so would it be him again? Dillian Whyte, Rivas rematch? Luis Ortiz. I think Ortiz or Andy Ruiz would be preferable in the minds of most boxing fans above Rivas, who have already seen him beat. And Wilder, I think, would probably be the first choice for most boxing fans if it's WBC vacant belt. Whyte versus Wilder. If not, then, well, any of these fights are good, really. Let's be real. Even going all the way down to Dubois. The WBC top 15 is actually pretty good. Right? You got Deontay Wilder, Usyk, Rivas, Ortiz, Ruiz, Parker, Dubois, Hrgovic, Povetkin, Hunter, Joyce, Chisora, Martin. The weakest, I think most people would say, the weakest fighters in this top 15, most people would probably say are Martin and Caballel and a Jagba, the bottom three here. Chisora, you know, he's a warhorse. He's a fringe contender. We can say that about Chisora. Maybe people would say Chisora is the weak link here, but obviously Chisora's lost to Caballel. But could Chisora beat anybody in that top 15? Could he beat Charles Martin? Could he beat a Jagba right now? Maybe. I'd like to see Chisora versus a Jagba, actually. I think that'd be a really good fight for F.A. Jagba, to see where he's at. I'm not sure whether he'd want that smoke. And to be fair, I don't think Chisora would be looking to fight a Jagba because he's looking to fight the big names himself. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below in terms of this Dillian Whyte situation with suing the WBC. How do you think it's going to pan out? Do you want to see justice, or do you want to see the Undisputed fight? And if Dillian Whyte does fight for the vacant belt, who do you think it will be against? And how do you think he would fare against any of these guys? Wilder, Usyk, we've already seen Rivas, but maybe a rematch. Ortiz, Ruiz, Parker rematch. Let me know, people. Let's hammer them out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.